Welcome to Spelling Bee Ninja, where we empower learners to conquer the English language. If you're a student eager to improve your grammar skills, you're in the right place. Each episode brings you closer to mastering English, whether it's through clear explanations or exciting examples. So, hit that subscribe button to join our community of learners dedicated to academic success. Together, let's embark on our journey to understand English clauses, an essential building block of effective communication. Today, we're diving deep into the world of English clauses. Understanding clauses is fundamental to mastering our language. A clause is a group of words that contains both a subject and a predicate, forming the backbone of sentences. Let's break down the 5 major types of clauses that every English learner should know. First, we have independent clauses. An independent clause can stand alone as a complete sentence because it expresses a complete thought. For example, when I say, "She loves to read," that's a complete thought, and it has both a subject, she, and a verb, loves. Another example might be, "The sun set behind the mountains." This too is an independent clause, standing alone and making perfect sense. Think about connecting independent clauses with coordinating conjunctions like and, but, and so. An example would be, "I wanted to go hiking, but it started to rain." Here, we see how we can combine our thoughts to make more complex sentences. Next, let's talk about dependent clauses. Unlike independent clauses, a dependent clause cannot stand alone because it doesn't express a complete thought. It must link to an independent clause to provide clarity. For instance, the phrase "because I was tired" is a dependent clause. On its own, it leaves the listener hanging. But if we connect it to an independent clause, like "because I was tired, I went to bed early," it becomes meaningful. Dependent clauses often start with subordinating conjunctions such as although, because, or when. Moving on, the third type of clause we're looking at is the noun clause. A noun clause acts like a noun in a sentence. It can serve as a subject, an object, or even a complement. Take this example, "What she said was surprising." Here, what she said is the noun clause acting as the subject of the sentence. In another instance, you might hear, "I didn't hear what he said," where what he said is the direct object. Noun clauses typically begin with words such as that, what, and whether. Now, let's explore adjective clauses, which are also known as relative clauses. These clauses provide more information about a noun or pronoun, effectively describing them. For example, in the sentence, "The book that I borrowed from the library is overdue," the clause "that I borrowed from the library" describes the book. Similarly, "The woman who lives next door is a doctor." Here, "who lives next door" provides essential information about the woman. We often start adjective clauses with relative pronouns like who, which, or that. Finally, we move to adverbial clauses, which modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs in the main clause. They answer questions related to time, reason, condition, and manner. For instance, in the sentence, "When the bell rings, the students leave," the clause "when the bell rings" tells us when the students leave. Similarly, we could say, "He left because he was angry," where "because he was angry" explains the reason for his departure. Adverbial clauses typically start with subordinating conjunctions like because, if, and although. Now that we've introduced our 5 types of clauses, let's solidify our understanding with an exercise that helps identify multiple types of clauses within a context. Consider the essay paragraph. "Although she was exhausted, Maria continued working on the project that her supervisor had assigned, knowing that completing it on time would earn her a promotion. She took short breaks whenever she felt overwhelmed, and she stayed positive even though the deadline was tight. What motivated her the most was the thought that her efforts would be recognized." In analyzing this paragraph, we can identify various clauses. The first is "although she was exhausted," which is a dependent adverbial clause as it cannot stand alone. The next clause is "Maria continued working on the project," which is an independent clause, expressing a complete thought. The phrase "that her supervisor had assigned" is a dependent adjective clause, providing more information about the project. We then have "knowing that completing it on time would earn her a promotion," where that completing it on time would earn her a promotion is a noun clause. Continuing, the section she took short breaks is an independent clause. Whenever she felt overwhelmed is a dependent adverbial clause, which explains under what circumstances she took breaks. The clause and she stayed positive connects with she took short breaks as another independent clause. Even though the deadline was tight forms a dependent adverbial clause, adding contrast. Finally, what motivated her the most is yet another dependent noun clause, serving as the subject of the expression that follows. Last but not least, that her efforts would be recognized acts as a complement to the thought, providing clarity about what motivated her. Altogether, we've identified various clause types within this rich context, illustrating the nuances in sentence structure and complexity. Each clause type plays a unique role in creating meaning and adding depth to our sentences. To summarize today's lesson, we explored the 5 types of clauses in the English language: independent, dependent, noun, adjective, and adverbial clauses. Each type contributes uniquely to sentence structure and enhances our ability to communicate effectively. By mastering these clauses, you can improve your writing and speaking skills, making your sentences clearer and more engaging. Remember, independent clauses express complete thoughts on their own, while dependent clauses require support to convey meaning. By understanding and identifying these different types of clauses, you become a more effective communicator. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Spelling Bee Ninja. We hope you enjoyed learning about English clauses and found the content helpful in your journey to mastering the language. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more educational insights, tips, and lessons designed specifically for K-12 and ESL learners. We're excited to continue this adventure with you. Until next time, keep practicing and happy learning.